Welcome to iFilm. There are a lot of really funny scenes about the differences between guys and girls, but there's one scene that both genders are really going to cringe at. How'd you feel about putting the tampon up your nose?
I liked it.
I thought it was kind of fun and funny in a weird way. I don't know if that makes me weird, but
as long as it's not becoming a habit.
I don't know. We won't get into that. But it was funny to me. So I enjoyed doing it.
Funny to me too.
I didn't know you weren't supposed to put the plastic thing up.
Yeah, in the audition he put the applicator up as well. He didn't take it out. It's so much easier when it's just the cotton bit.
A little less painful, probably. Yeah. I don't know.
Yes, a little bit.
Excellent. So you are playing both sides of the field, so to speak, and you went on some field trips with the director to check out the male gender. What did you learn about the differences between guys and girls?
One of the things that I noticed when guys and girls are dating and are walking together, it was always the girl hanging on the guy. Not even in a negative way, it was just her arm would be on his, or she'd be and it was sort of he was almost pulled away, and his arm would be away and his hand would be in his pocket and she'd be hanging on him as they were walking. And I think it was just because guys want to always in a way appear like they're not attached. And I not all guys, but that was one thing that I noticed about them.
So you're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
done.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's you don't have to be hanging all over, but you know, because I think in public it's sort of weird, but when you love someone, it's different. So.
Right. So both of your characters are pretty talented soccer players. Mm-hmm. So how was the whole training program? You just had a couple weeks to look awesome?
Yeah, it was maybe a little more than a couple weeks, but it was it was pretty intense. They really put us through a rugged program. We were dead tired at the end of the day. I couldn't move my legs.
It was exhausting, but it was good for us.
Yeah.
It was a challenge.
Andy, everyone's talking about high energy guy, really funny.
Yeah.
So how much would you say his personality and the environment he created on set fueled your comic abilities?
For me, it was major.
God.
Because I know that even though I've been acting a long time, you're only as good as what you're doing at that moment type of thing, and he sort of challenged everybody and made everybody funny.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that he kept saying is just as long as we're making each other laugh, hopefully other people will laugh as well. And he really gave me permission, to do other funny stuff. I'd see him doing funny stuff, and that would make them start to go off of each other, and and it was just we just got to create together.
He sort of makes everybody feel comfortable. And there's a scene when we're in the gym, and it wasn't even written that Channing would open the phone funny and he'd fall and be awkward, but it's he started becoming this guy, and that's when I started being really impressed with him as an actor. It was he sort of really went for it and went with it, and it was it wasn't written like that, and he became suave, and it was it was so funny, but it was real,
suave.
And it wasn't
nice.
Suave. But and I think Andy puts you in this comfortable environment where you feel you can do it, and so we all sort of did our best.
Absolutely.
And he comes from the stage background too, so it sounds like maybe he wanted you guys to be together as a group before shooting started. And did you feel a familiarity that's important?
Yeah, because I mean, so many films you get there and you have one day or not even one day, and you have to be thrown into these situations where you're supposed to be best friends with somebody for life, or or your whole life. And we got to really establish some real relationships, beforehand, before we started with our, with our fake ones, our fictitious ones or whatever.
Looking at Amanda, you're playing opposite her as a girl and then a guy. Were you having to switch modes in your mind? Okay, male today, male?
Oddly enough, no. I mean, because in a weird way, I'm always talking to Amanda. Whatever she looks like, and that was the cool thing with our characters, that I started to not talk to her different, and even when she was a girl, I wouldn't talk to her any different, because for some weird reason there was just a connection there, and there was just a comfort that she made me feel, or Sebastian made me feel. So it just never really changed all that much.
Were you making that mental switch? Male, female?
Yeah, just because when I was a guy, I had to sort of especially when I'm with the other guys, I had to like put on like, you know, like, oh God, I'm trying to remember all the things that I learned, and so I would like spurt them all out at once, and it would be awkward, and that's why they would laugh at me. And so then I would just be like, this is awkward, you know. But then when I'm dressed up as a guy and I'm not around the guys, like when I was on the phone talking to my mom, I would be Viola. And I think that's like when you see the back and forth, it was like that for me.